मिलता नहीं तेरा निशान हो के जुदा कब मैं जिया तू है कहाँ मैं यहाँ तेरी यादों में खोया रहता हूँ मुझको डसती है तन्हाइयाँ फिरता रहूं दर बदर मिलता नहीं तेरा निशान हो के जुदा कब मैं जिया तू है कहाँ मैं यहाँ Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
थोड़ा जोर से क्लैप कर दो अच्छा नहीं था तो एक बार और वेरी गुड और इधर इस टीम के लिए भी जो बिहाइंड स्टेज है बिहाइंड स्टेज
मुझे बाहर जाके कौन बताएगा? मैम अभी आप भेज दीजिए क्योंकि बाहर है। Yes, अभी आप भेज दीजिए। कौन से गेट पे हैं? बस वही ठीक है। आगे
Hello. Everyone, please remain calm and silent in your places. The event is about to start in 5 minutes. We have our guest who will be entering in another 2 minutes now. So everyone, please remain quiet.
Let's all rise to welcome with a huge round of applause. Let's rise up, please, guys. Let's stand up and welcome with a huge round of applause our esteemed guest for today, the man of the hour, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma, founder and CEO of Paytm, Ms. Kritika Bhandari, moderator of today's event, Honorable CEO, Sir, Dr. Dhruv Galgotia, Honorable Director Operations, Ms. Aradhana Galgotia, Honorable Advisor to the Chancellor, Dr. Renu Luthra. Let's continue with a round of applause, guys. Namaste and good afternoon. I feel honored to heartily welcome our distinguished dignitaries, our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma, our moderator of the day, Ms. Kritika Bhandari, to the Galgotias University. I also warmly welcome our Honorable CEO, Sir, Dr. Dhruv Galgotia, Director Operations, Ms. Aradhana Galgotia, to today's event. Now I would like to invite Honorable Chief Guest and our other esteemed dignitaries on the dais to light the ceremonial lamp. I now humbly invite our CEO, Sir, Dr. Dhruv Galgotia, to felicitate our chief guest, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Honorable Director Operations, to please felicitate Ms. Kritika Bhandari, our moderator of the event today. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Dr. K. Mallikarjun, to please felicitate our judge of the day, Mr. Arnav Mittal, Advocate, Supreme Court. New India Junction is an online YouTube channel that acts as a conversation channel between the change makers of today and the leaders of tomorrow. We are supported by Bluecraft Digital Foundation, a think tank in public policy. The two popular programs of this channel with more than 1 lakh subscribers are Real Story, hosted by Richa Anirudh, a renowned journalist of Zindagi with Richa fame, and the New India Junction podcast, Another Pearl in a Bag, which has hosted pioneers like Vikram Sampath, Sanjeev Sanyal, Shamika Ravi, and RJ Ronak. The New India Debates is a new property of New India Junction that is creating a platform for the youth to debate and brainstorm ideas on nation building. This 20-episode series will be shot across campuses in India and will finally culminate in a national championship hosted in Delhi in the first week of November. Now presenting the moderator of the debate and the event, Ms. Kritika Bhandari, a lawyer by education and an educator by heart and soul. She is the founding member of Vijay Bhumi University and IFIM Law School. A regular columnist in leading publications, she serves as a member of Central Academic Advisory Committee of NSDC and is member of the Young Leaders Board of the IRM affiliate. Now let's have a brief video presentation on Digital India.
यही समय है सही समय है विचारों का मैदान बोल दिखाओ अपनी भाषा में सब है तैयार राइट और रॉन्ग में क्या डिफरेंस है दे दो अपना ज्ञान let everyone around you know what it's time for सही समय है
अंग्रेजों की परंपरा की बदौलत सरकार और जनता के बीच में एक भरोसे की बहुत बड़ी खाई थी और इसलिए समय की मांग थी कि सामान्य मानवी की जिंदगी में से सरकार कम होती चली जाए, सरकार हटती जाए। मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट, मैक्सिमम गवर्नेंस।
1st July 2015, the country saw a dream.
I dream of a digital India where high-speed digital highways unite the nation. I dream of a digital India where government is open and governance is transparent. I dream of a digital India where the world looks to India for the next big idea.
The government has leveraged technologies to transform the landscape of governance and reach the last mile. The Government of India's Aadhaar has enabled the registration of 95% out of the 142 crore population. Through Aadhaar, direct benefits are transferred, which has nullified corruption and malpractices to a huge extent. In the last 9 years, the government was able to transfer amount of 31 lakh crore rupees with savings of 2 lakh crore rupees. With these savings, we can send 325 moon missions or send a Mars mission daily for a year. Now coming to mobile penetration, India has 84 connections for every 100 people today, which were just 3 connections every 100 people in 1999. The new telecom policy of 1999 brought by the then Vajpayee government made the difference. India is the second largest user base in the world with 1.2 billion in 2023 and with 84% mobile penetration, it is way above the global mobile penetration level of 67%. This is obviously not all. The cost of data has fallen from 300 rupees per GB in 2014 to rupees 10 per GB in 2023. This is 20 times the data you can buy for the same price in the USA. This, coupled with the mobile penetration, has turned content creation into a full-time profession for many. And there are new-age social media stars coming from the Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns of India. To make the point hit a little harder, rural India has 20% more active users than urban India. The payment systems coupled with the mobile penetration has transformed the whole landscape of transactions in the nation, with everyone from a shop at a posh mall in the coolest neighborhood to the tea seller by the road using the technology, with India surpassing all nations in the world in the volume of digital payments. In 2011, China was 4 times ahead of India in digital payment systems, but till 2018, India took over China. In 2022, with 89.5 billion, which is more than 5 times the number of transactions in China. UPI is available in 11 nations now, and guess one of such places? The Eiffel Tower in Paris. The Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana has been a game changer for financial inclusion. Under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, over 500 million bank accounts have opened in the last 9 years. It would have taken 47 years for 80% of adults to have a bank account. But through digital infrastructure, India was able to achieve this coverage in 2017. But there is something more. Transportation has been revolutionized as well. People earlier had to wait in lines at the toll plazas, whereas the FASTag has reduced the time needed from 12 minutes to an astounding 47 seconds. But what of it? It has helped India reduce carbon emissions to the tune of 10 lakh tons, and estimated savings of 35 crore liters of worth 2,800 crore rupees. Apart from delivery of welfare and transportation, Digital India has enabled innovation and entrepreneurship, with thousands of startups creating value and impact across various sectors and regions. And 110 plus unicorns, India is the third largest ecosystem of the world. This is not the end though. It is still a revolution in the making as India walks through the Amrit Kal and climbs newer heights.
A very good afternoon to one and all present. How are we feeling today? Good? Can I have a little more energy from the audience? How are we feeling today? Super. What better day than today to actually talk about the wings of the Digital India movement that we are celebrating here today? I'm sure all of you must know that today we are celebrating the 9th anniversary of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. And as per recent figures, I mean, it's simply astounding. But we have 50 crore people who have joined the formal banking sector with a surplus of 2 lakh crores that have now been deposited in the bank. Is this not real impact that we're talking about today? So with this, now let's move to the debate. Can I please invite the lovely student debaters joining us from the university? Can we have a round of applause for our debaters, please? We need to have a round of applause as our debaters get on stage. Requesting the debaters to take their seats, please. the stage is nearly set for us to start this verbal battle today. Welfare programs serve as a cornerstone in building inclusive societies that prioritize the well-being of all citizens. At the same time, while the concept of providing freebies may initially seem compassionate, the long-term consequences of unrestricted handouts can be detrimental to the fabric of societies. Majority of political leaders commonly vouch for the use of freebies to support the poor and the needy, to reduce and bridge gaps in their access to health, education, and better infrastructure facilities. It is claimed that people's lives are happier and prosperous due to freebies. However, have we given enough thought to identify the real issues that may crop up because of freebies? Welfare is productive, but freebies are a sinkhole, like a parasite, sucking the developmental budget, turning a surplus budget into a deficit one, and turning a healthy economy into a sick one. Something that has the potential of turning the India of today into an India that had to mortgage its gold. We're living in a democracy where governments are duty-bound to empower people through timely information and deliver with solutions that meet their expectations. Is this the right time that now our election manifestos also present ways and means to fund those freebies? With this, I would like to share the debate topic of today: welfare integrates and freebies destroy societies. The first segment of the debate will have the opening remarks by both teams and all four speakers. Firstly, I would like to invite our speakers going for the motion to put forth their opening arguments. Over to you, Ayush. Sure.
Namaste. Namaste, a very good afternoon to respected judges, worthy opponents and members of the House. Let us take a moment to try and appreciate that what a privilege it is for us to stand here at the crossroads where history and modernity converge. It has been over 76 years since India got its hard-earned freedom. And today, in a free nation, we gather here to discuss a topic that has echoed through ages, which is welfare integrates and freebies destroy societies. As we embark on this journey, we shall try and understand why I firmly advocate for this motion. Now cast your minds back to 1947, a time of yearning and suffering for our nation. India's per capita income stood at a meager 230 Indian rupees. Poverty and challenges were the reality of the day. Fast forward to today, and we witness India's transformational journey into becoming a global economic powerhouse. So here's a question to ponder upon. Was this metamorphosis fueled by the embrace of welfare, or was it merely the allure of free offerings that played a more significant role? At the heart of our discussion lies the term freebies, and it demands clarification. It has no clear boundaries, but we shall try and understand by looking at some use cases. So members of the House, would you call it a freebie if we distribute free electricity to everybody? Or, in terms of our Honorable Prime Minister, a revdi? As a nation that stands confidently on its feet today, we do not need revdis of any kind. As a nation which has expounded the concept of dharma, which means duty, we do not need revdis of any kind. Certainly, the country requires quality healthcare and education, but to provide everything free is a disastrous decision to say the least. Urea, for instance, it is highly subsidized, so much so that of 1/3 of the world's price. It sounds good in theory, but this means that the farmers use more of it and less of other potash and phosphate-based fertilizers. The RBI's report of 2022 is clear and exposes the financial pressures that stems from these subsidy norms. By telling examples of Telangana, where the government allocated a staggering 25.63% of its expenditure merely on freebies. So you must have heard the famous fiscal wisdom, spend only what you can earn. Members of the House, the Representation of People Act 1951 ensures free and fair elections, safeguards our democratic fabric, but
these electoral freebies distort this fairness. They manipulate people, they manipulate voters, and they manipulate decisions. In this arena, the power-driven agendas of political parties takes a precedence over nation's economic well-being. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you very much, Ayush. Can we have another round of applause? Now we move to our second speaker for the motion. Can we please have Tanushree?
Namaste, honorable judges, my worthy opponents and members of the House. I am Tanushree Bhatt going for the motion. So, as we all heard that my fellow speaker just dwelled into the pitfalls of freebies, I would like to continue by pointing out that we must consider the perils of providing free products to the people. Members of the House, remember, the pursuit of victory must not come at the expense of our economic vitality. And that is why it is very important to make a fine line between legitimate welfare spending and the pre-opportunistic allure of freebies. Yes, with an exception of providing essential services during the times of natural disasters. Now, members of the House, if we look at our world's tape history, then Scandinavia's transformation stands out the most. Let's consider the example of this country called Sweden. A country once grappling with poverty now stands as a beacon of inclusive development. Can we just think, how was it possible? It was all thanks to their welfare-driven programs and policies. And in contrast, if we compare this to the stories of Zimbabwe and Venezuela, where obviously freebies took the lead, what was the result? The nations were plunged towards an economic turmoil, and it was all due to their reckless land redistribution policies, which resulted in economic collapse, and there was food scarcity as well as the widespread unemployment. Now, members of the House, one compelling evidence to my previously said statement lies within our own nation, India. We all have witnessed the transformation of Kerala over the years. And again, I ask you to think, how could it have been possible? It was all due to their amazing social welfare programs that were launched by the government, and it actually showed a wonderful performance by raising the social indices as well as the Human Development Index. So in conclusion, I would like to say that the message still resounds that welfare integrates while freebies fragment. And our motion encapsulates this understanding that the prosperity flourishes only when comprehensive development surpasses fleeting appeasements. And if we talk about welfare, then welfare plants the seed of strength, resilience and shared prosperity. It rises above short-term gains while ensuring the long-lasting societal growth. So let us embrace this insight and pave the way for a future where welfare leads us to the new horizons of integration. So with this, I would like to rest my case for the motion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tanushree. I think the team going for the motion has set a very strong case for their side. Now let's invite the other side to put forth their case. So if we could have Devansh, please.
All of us do not have equal talent, but all of us should have an equal opportunity to develop our talent. Well, this was rightly said by John F. Kennedy. A very pleasant afternoon, respected judges, my worthy opponents and members of the House. Today I, Devansh Kaushik from School of Law, stand here to address the issues regarding the usage of freebies in our nation. So the first question that comes in my head is, exactly what is a freebie? Well, the very essence of a freebie is a delightful offering that is generously granted without any cost. So picture this, in a statement from Reserve Bank of India that reverberated across the land in the June of 2022, breathed life into the very term freebie by stating it as a gesture of public benevolence with town gratuities. And that is not it. They went on to differentiate between these free treasures and the wealthy crown jewels of public or merit goods like infrastructure, healthcare and education, which of course reaps grander and lasting rewards for the realm. Yet, the only conclusion that we were able to reach was that we need to tread cautiously for the line between these virtuous goods and beguiling allure of non-minute splendors remains a riddle of Herculean proportions. So while my esteemed colleagues have expounded on the negative concerns regarding the use of freebies, it is my intention to offer a more nuanced perspective that focuses on the positive impact freebies can have, especially for the underprivileged ones. Members of the House, it goes without saying that for any nation to develop a profound harmony between the government and the citizens, the government has to be elected democratically by the will of the people. And that is where what my fellow opponents said, freebies, comes into play. It is actually shown that government freebies can increase public trust and satisfaction with the government. Why? Simply because they show the accountability the government has towards its people. It is not only that, it goes on to also show that people can turn out during the election if you are giving them the rewards that they actually require and what they can use for their productivity. It can also go on to become a medium of communication and dialogue between the government and the citizens that not only increases transparency but uplifts the very spirit of the democracy in our nation. I would like to remind everyone of the fact that economy plays a vital role in the development and upliftment of the standard of living in any nation. And according to the World Bank reports, sometimes government freebies can actually boost the economy in any nation. How? By simply increasing the workforce productivity, especially in the underdeveloped zone for the underprivileged people. I would also like to emphasize on the fact that government freebies have the potential to not only increase the economy but also ensure that the people are getting what they truly deserve. Often what we refer as government freebies like bicycles, laptops and sewing machines are actually the ones that infuses the working class with the tools of empowerment. A bicycle converts into a ride towards self-resilience for millions of girls in West Bengal and Bihar, which not only shows increase in enrollment rates, but it also serves as a testament to the metamorphosis that freebies can ignite. So the question remains at large, are freebies just mere objects? Well, I don't think so. What they are, what they truly are catalysts of upward and upward mobility only. With this, I rest my motion. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you very much, Ayush. Now, the first speaker of the debate, Ms. Anusha, over to you.
Members of the House, respected jury, and my worthy opponents, Namaste. I would like to highlight a study by World Bank, which has estimated that free food subsidies under the public distribution system has reduced the poverty ratio in India by 7% in 2011-12, which is a clear indication of how it has benefited our economy. Truly, agriculture is an indelible part of our country. 58% of the total Indian population earns its livelihood from it, deeming to be a state subject. The other arena is industries. Finance Ministry had no qualms about writing off the massive bad debts. The Public Account Committee of Parliament has estimated that public sector banks termed as non-performing assets sums up to 6.8 lakh crore. And out of this, 70% are of corporates, while farmers makes just 1%. In the backdrop of this financial story is a world where financial industries find leniency and farmers faces the ultimate challenges. In the grand tapestry of democracy, there's a world. These are not the mere handouts, but the instruments of empowerment and bridges to a more inclusive society. In a country like India, where unequal talent abound, it is our collective responsibility to ensure that each and every citizen should have an equal opportunity to develop their talents by bridging the gap between privilege and need. Right? I think that's perfectly all right when people work for the betterment. And through this, we uphold the very essence of democracy. Government freebies, when implemented with prudence, serves as the tangible symbol of the government's commitment towards its people. So, when these are implemented in a proper manner, they work for the welfare of the citizens. These are not the fruits of benevolence, but the seeds of progress.
So as we continue to debate the merits and pitfalls of freebies, let us strive for a society where equal talent should meet our citizens, where the harmonious symphony of governance and citizenry is composed by the will of the people, and where the notion of freebies is not one of extravagancy, but one of empowerment, equity, and progress. With this, I'd like to rest my case. Thank you. Namaste.
I'm sure the audience resonates similar feelings as me, that this debate is surely going to be neck to neck. With this, we move to the second segment of the debate, which is going to be the rebuttals round. Well, after all, what is a debate without our speakers taking each other's arguments head on, inviting both teams to present their rebuttals to set their winning cases. For the team first going for the motion.
Okay, so as my opponent mentioned, you mentioned about freebies increasing social cohesion and reducing inequalities in society. But let's say if some government provides freebies to a specific set of people or to a specific set of audience, is it not increasing sort of difference in social classes and gaps? And how do you defend that? People see that some people are being provided freebies, but others are not. So whether or not the people who are not being provided, they deserve it or not, they see it in a way that it's a sort of a divide between, it's a sort of a mental divide between the classes. How do you defend that?
So let's put it like this. When we talk about the inequality that might arise because of the use of freebies, it's pretty much the same in the cases of welfare, because if a welfare scheme is not implemented in the correct manner, people would eventually start to notice the differences that are going out in the society. And the problem is, when we think about freebies, we consider it like this, that freebies are evil, they are a taboo, they should not exist in the first place. Why? Because they're free, right? But that is not the case. The right approach in this scenario is how we can ensure that the freebies are actually being delivered to the people that actually need them. So the question is not this, that whether we should use freebies or not. The question is how we can ensure of finding or coming up with a way that the freebies and the deliverables are actually being going out to the people that need them. I'll just cite an example. I'd like to cite another one. So, taking an example of a midday meal, for example, and you see, in a way, it is also a free meal that is being provided to the children. But when you look at the bigger picture here, the life expectancy would increase, the nutritional values that are needed in them, they're being fulfilled. Their health is not being sacrificed. Why? Because are we giving them a freebie, or is it a welfare? So there's a very thin line that needs to be ensured is not being played around with. We need to ensure that the line is not being crossed and the freebies are actually going in the right direction and is being implemented in the right manner. And which is pretty much the scenario with the welfare schemes as well. Because if you notice, there are multiple welfare schemes which have been implemented, but they did not yield any fruitful result for our nation. So, in the end, I'll just encapsulate by saying that it is the approach that matters, and the question, as I like to repeat, the question is not if we'll be able to give freebies or not. The question should be how we give them to the people that actually need them in our nation.
Wonderful. Can we have the next set of speakers with the rebuttals?
Okay, so ma'am, you just mentioned that if government provide freebies with prudence, then it can be used for the betterment of the people. But my question is, the actual thing that is happening with government, they are not taking in consideration this prudence thing. As we can see in Tamil Nadu, the government was distributing even mixer grinders and the jewelries in the name of freebies, which are not the basic necessities of life. So, what is your stance about this? What should be the thing which should be distributed as freebies, and how can we ensure that it reaches to the correct person, to the right person?
So in that case, I believe that right approach in implementing anything, be it freebies or welfare scheme, matters. So I'd like to highlight that in 2010-15, 10 to 15, in Assam, free sewing machines were distributed. And those sewing machines were actually used by women for the professional purpose as well. They became financially independent. So they actually helped them in their financial upliftment and women upliftment as well. And it's not just all round, you cannot just completely disregard it, because at point welfare schemes have also failed, just like Manrega in 15 states. It has not delivered what it has promised earlier. And I think no compensation have been provided to the people who have been suffered through it. So by and large, what matters is a positive approach in implementation of the policies. And in that case, freebies, if well planned and if well implemented with the proper surveillance, would definitely be a proper upliftment for a society. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
So, at one point in your speech, sir, you went on to mention that how, because of freebies, the elections are getting disrupted. So, my question remains, is it the problem because of the freebies, or is it the problem that the government parties, the parties are making false pretenses and false promises to the citizens? So, who is to blame here? Is it the party that is making these false promises, or is it these freebies that can actually help transform someone's life?
Okay. So let's look at it in this manner. Probably some of the parties deliver on their promises of freebies. That too, there is a problem that we don't know how much of the. So we have the example of Telangana, where the government actually spent around 25% of the expenditure on freebies itself. So even if they do fulfill their promises, it's not just about false promises. It's about, even if they do fulfill their promises, it's more of a worse thing that they fulfill their promises, because then it goes on to destroy the entire economic setup of the state. So in a manner, it's also the problem of political parties, but it's mainly the point that when freebies are being fulfilled, they go on to disrupt the economy of the entire place rather than uplifting it. We have the example of Andhra Pradesh and Punjab, wherein they are highly indebted states, and still the freebies exceed 2% of the entire makeup of their expenditure. So in that manner, when freebies are being fulfilled, whether or not, by how much, it's a different case, but they actually go on to disrupt the entire economy of the state, of the country, whatever the scale is. So yeah, that's that. Thank you.
Can we have the last set of rebuttals now?
When often people say that freebies are inappropriate, right? But freebies have constantly helped in uplifting the marginalized. Just like in 2007, when free cycles were distributed in areas of Bihar and West Bengal, the girls actually used it, and the dropout ratio reduced by 11%. So in that sense, freebies have helped in so many ways. So how can you say that freebies have completely harmed our society, while welfare schemes also have failed in so many ways?
Okay. So as you mentioned that the government freebies actually help the girls, I would like to, you mentioned the word marginalized. I would like to point out this thing. A person coming from a marginalized area does not know what is happening in the economic sector of the country. He doesn't know how the government budget works. He does not have any idea where the shares are going, what is the economy doing of the nation. So if the government is distributing any kind of freebies, but in a reckless manner, then it will look a good thing for a short-term manner, but what happens after the short term? To our audience, I would also like to ask this thing that if somebody provides you something for a day or a month, you will use it, you will feel happy, but what happens after that? Is there any data regarding that, like what those girls are doing? Fine, they got the bicycle, they went to their schools, but what might have happened after that? We have no clue. So I will say that freebies ensure the short-term growth, but not the long-term welfare of the people. And it should be government's responsibility to not provide reckless freebies to the people, especially coming from the marginalized area, because they do not have the knowledge of how the economy is working. But still, if government provides the well-constructed schemes, then the upliftment and the growth of society is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With this, now we come to the last segment of the debate. Can I please request our attendees to maintain some silence? In the last segment of the debate, I would like to request the teams to finally put forth their concluding points. Right? So as we're running short of time, we are just going to have the concluding stances that are going to be put forth by the team. So can we have one speaker each from the team giving the final concluding stance as a team on the issue? Over to the team going for the motion to give their concluding stance.
Yes. So in conclusion, I would simply like to say it's very, very clear that different statistics, different data across states in our country paints it clear. Whether it is freebies amounting for somewhere between 0.1% to 2.7% of GSTP, gross state domestic product, across states in India, or be it example of Punjab and Andhra Pradesh, highly indebted states having exceeding 2% of their expenditure on freebies. It is clear that freebies disrupt economy in a very major way. In some short term, in some short areas, in some very controlled manner, it is a possibility that we find some short-term gains, but in a very long-term, in a long-term run, in a long-term game, we don't see any sort of a fruitful development of a country, of a nation, and whatever the scale might be. So in conclusion, we would like to say that it's welfare schemes that matter, it's systemic changes that matter, it's proper point-by-point, step-by-step procedure that is followed for implementing anything that matters, and not short-term hikes of freebies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now for the final concluding remarks from the team going against the motion.
Members of the House, it sometimes brings me pain when we discuss the fact that the question that is always in the picture is whether freebies should be there or not. But in fact, the question should be how we can implement it in the rightful manner. That is the right approach that we should have. And that is the approach that I want to present in front of everyone today. So before I conclude, I would like to cite example of Tamil Nadu, where the midday meal started. And it is one of the best implementation that we have seen in generations in our nation. So I like to just remind everyone, just because if something is free does not mean it's wrong for us. At times it is actually a tool of empowerment. For us, we might not realize it. For us, it's just a laptop. But for someone out there in our village who has the capacity to learn from that laptop, it is the life-changing tool that he or she needs. And in contradiction to what ma'am said, that the underprivileged people don't know what is wrong with the economy or what is share or what is the GDP of a nation. So isn't it the wrong picture? Doesn't the right way is to make sure that these people know how our economy works? Isn't that the way we'll ensure that the people are actually getting to know the nation and how they can be part of it in transforming it? Not for just themselves, but for the generations to come. So again, I would like to remind everyone that freebies are not just mere tools that help you in the short term. When you think about it, the bicycles that the girls are using to ride to their school is the very tool that is helping them to change the world around them, and that is not only increasing the literacy rate in the India, but it is also ensuring that the girls are getting equal opportunities just like men out there. In the end, I would just encapsulate by saying, people, member of the House, remember, change your approach towards the use of freebies. Make sure that the freebies are getting delivered to the right people. That is the motto the government should have, and that is the motto that we citizens of India should strive for. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our articulate students.
brilliant debaters. I'm sure every attendee sitting here with me and hearing these wonderful arguments resonates feelings of awe and amazement for the wonderful debate that we have witnessed this afternoon. Can we please have another round of applause? Now, while our judge, Advocate Arnab Mittal, attends to the Herculean task of finalizing the results, I would like to move to the segment all of us have been waiting for, the interaction with our chief guest of this afternoon, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma is an Indian technology entrepreneur who has played an instrumental role in revolutionizing the digital payments and financial services landscape in India as the chairman, managing director, and CEO of 197 Communications and its consumer brand Paytm. Under his guidance, Paytm is on a mission to bring 500 million Indians into the mainstream economy. He is a strong believer in the power of emerging technology and a true supporter of India's journey to become a fully digital economy. With this vision, Paytm pioneered the digital payments revolution in India by taking the QR code to every small shop in the country and is now driving financial inclusion in India with offerings across lending, wealth, insurance, and more. He has been featured in the 2017 Time 100 list of 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine. Mr. Sharma has also been bestowed with the multiple industry honors such as the Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2018 by the All India Management Association, Entrepreneur of the Year at the Economic Times Awards for Corporate Excellence in 2016, and GQ Man of the Year in 2016. Presenting to you the Man of the Hour, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma.
Hi. Hi guys. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's genuinely something. At the beginning of the debate, I sort of had an opinion by myself, and I must give it to the both teams. It was compelling. So, congratulations and acknowledgement to the both sides who presented such beautiful debate. And I'll give you a little bit of anecdote on my life also, where this movement came. So it's true that there is no doubt about it. There are times when so-called support of freebie ends up becoming the empowerment, and there are times when it becomes a waste. There is no doubt about it that till a particular stage, this is a blessing, and after some time it becomes not necessary or necessity. That's my opinion in a way, because I'm a student of college or university where my family did not have enough money to get educated, and I think the institute was supported in a freebie way because the education fee was so small, I wouldn't have been here. So I support that. At the same point of time, in my childhood, I wrote a 4-line poem when I was in class 10. A class 10 student, I was 12-year-old by the way, class 10. So I'm one of those who just skipped early classes. And this poem that I wrote was in Hindi. मैं गरीबी हूँ, मैं तुम्हें चाहती हूँ, मैं तुम्हें छोड़ नहीं सकती क्योंकि तुम मुझे उससे ज़्यादा चाहते हो. And the intention that it said was that sometimes we take our pain as our success or obligation to stay in that. In other words, we don't try to break through the ceiling or the border that we are in front of, and instead we are very happy to say, oh, this is what I'm identifying with. So many times these freebies can become a habit for some people instead of empowerment to some people. So I support it till the time period. It is impeccably well said that it is an empowerment, and I challenge it at a time when it becomes like a more of a handicap, if you will, which is exactly what we do not want in a country which is becoming self-reliant more and more. So, congratulations to both sides. They were very, very well articulated. And it's a very interesting time in our country right now that we are in, because as you know, I mean, this is impeccable that as a country we've done something which phenomenally tough milestone. Landing on moon lending is when somebody becomes very smart, we say,
to rocket scientists. So now let's just say that our country has legitimate rocket scientists who have gone to Mars, gone to moon landing. So 3 cheers for our country's heroes. It is louder than that. I'm actually an engineer only, I'm not a business person, so I have a lot of different level of respect for people who solve for mathematics problem and engineering problem. So there is a special acknowledgement to what ISRO has done it. I feel so proud. And in fact, I want to tell you all that what my presentation and discussion that I have a little bit is, you have to understand that what state of life that we are in as a country. Remember that we all, for our last, as we know, we are in 76 years of independence, and there is this economy that has happened that we have inherited. Somewhere around $3 trillion, give or take $2.5 to $3 trillion, and that is what the economy is now. And as you know, there is a mathematics of compounding, where what you do gets doubled and the rate of interest, or, I mean, I'm sure most of us now being in a university know what compounding gains are. So think about this. Our fathers, grandfather, forefathers built something, and they gave us something in our prime of our lives. What they did in last 75 years, built $2.5 trillion to $3 trillion of this economy, and literally in less than 10% of that, 7 years of that, we would do the whole that size being doubled. Meaning, what took 75 years to build will be built in front of us in the next 7.5 years. You have to imagine the enormity of it, guys. You have to imagine the enormity and understand the impact that it will carry on all of us. I mean, this country is not an opportunity for just us. This country is considered an opportunity for the world. I come from the Western world to develop this area. Culturally, we have been taught by seeing internet and being Western movies, etc., and a lot of education that there is an American dream, if you will. I can tell you, this is an age and time that we are going. In next 5 years, our dreams will be called the Great Indian Dream, that many will come to follow in this country and be here. And it is happening in front of our eyes, guys. It is phenomenal. What has happened in the last 10 years, whether you talk about digital, whether you talk about empowerment to the upliftment of poverty, you cannot believe what has happened in this country for 10 years, because most of us are young. We were in schools or somewhere else. We did not have a, little bit of gauge meter, if you will, that what were we doing and what we are today. And I've seen it. I saw it because I graduated in 1998. I was one of those who could have been in US because there was a Y2K rush. Many of you may not remember. There was a bug in internet computers that when year 2000 happens, from 1999 to 2000, the systems could go boom. Because the system may not know how to handle 00 in the last 2 digits. And that was considered year 2000 bug. And anybody who was graduating was, देखो आप लोगों के कैंपस में जॉब के लिए लोग आते होंगे, और हमारे यहाँ पे कहा जाता था कि कुछ कंपनियां ऐसे ट्रक भर के ले जाती थी लोगों को. Like I said, this engineering college graduate, so I'm quoting what post third year or fourth year job placement होता है. लोग कहते हैं कि ट्रक में भर जाओ सब लोग, ऐसे होता था. The demand of engineering graduate in 1990-2000 was so phenomenally high that literally everybody was there. Now think about it, that I could have been in US on that opportunity, but again, I mean, what do you do in the life, man, if you don't give it to the place where you come back from? I mean, it is very easy to live a life where you can have enjoyment and joys of everything, and I can tell you it will be very unfulfilling after some time, because there is no end to what joys can be, and there is no end to the satisfaction, and there is no satisfaction in just being a consumer. Indian mythology में ब्रह्मा, विष्णु, महेश 3 रोल हैं. एक व्यक्ति की लाइफ में, और एक व्यक्ति 3 तरीके से रह सकता है, different एस्पेक्ट में. ब्रह्मा क्रिएटर, विष्णु मैनेजर, एंड महेश डिस्ट्रक्टर. अब मैं एक इंटरेस्टिंग बात बताना चाहता हूँ. डिस्ट्रक्टर भी क्रिएट करते हैं. माइकल एंजेलो कहते थे कि ये जो पत्थर है, मैं इसमें मूर्ति देता हूँ, जो नहीं चाहिए हटा देता हूँ, और मेरी एक नई चीज बन जाती है. सो डिस्ट्रक्टर डज नॉट मीन a destructor of good, destructor means destructor of evil, destructor of what is not needed. And that is also a bigger role, I would rather say, than just a creator and a manager. Now, in this role and responsibility of life that you're seeing, all of you at a junction of your college and graduate university, graduation coming in, will have an opportunity to be one of the three. मैं आपको एक ही लाइन बोलूंगा, अगर डिस्ट्रक्टर बनो तो evil का बनो, मैनेजर बनो तो अच्छे का बनो, and creator बनो तो और अच्छा बनो. So that is the opportunity that you have. आप सबके अंदर, आप सब लोगों ने पढ़ाई होगा, आप सबके अंदर वो एनर्जी है that you can create anything that you wish, and I really mean it. I don't come from a privileged background of family where I would have had opportunity to be like this in front of you. It is purely unreal, purely surreal to believe that I would be standing like talking like this. And but I want to tell you one thing that I always believe, and I mean it, that you is your energy within you will decide what you will do or not. And I always believe that aham brahmasmi, मैं ही हूँ ब्रह्मा, मैं ही create करूँगा. And when you have that philosophy, you will know that what you have created is credible. It takes a lot to move the country. It takes a lot to move. I was talking to your CEO here that what it takes for team to be motivated, what it takes for you to be motivated. And believe me or not, there is only one truth in the end. It is not chasing of a commercial or a material milestone that can bring you together. It is called purpose. When you set up yourself for a purpose, everything polarizes around it. So the answer is, people polarize on purpose. When you have to move the masses, you move the masses on the purpose that all the way to that day, to that dream, to the dream that we all will live. And I can tell you the people will polarize and they will always be aligned to that dream and the purpose that they belong to. So people polarize on the purpose. And I think this is exactly what we were discussing here today. Whether in the purpose of being the new India, in the purpose of making something what is incredible for all of us, are we going to give freebies or are we going to have a welfare? And it was a very apt movement. I love the discussion. I genuinely love the discussion. And I have a few slides here. Indian economy from Fazile 5 to the top 5. Actually, it is amazing. मेरा एक ही बात मानना है कि जिंदगी में कुछ भी हो सकता है. आप bottom life is like a sinusoidal cycle. You go through high, you go through low, and when you go through low, then there is only one thing which can go high, and when you are on the top, there is only one thing you can go on the bottom. It's funny, right? So जिंदगी में हमेशा अंडरडॉग बन के रहना चाहिए. क्यों? क्योंकि हमेशा अप एंड अबव जाने का है. कभी अगर हीरो बन गए तो एक ही काम होगा कि नीचे ही जाओगे. अंडरडॉग की स्टोरी है इंडिया, जो कि हमारी जिंदगी और हमारे लाइफ टाइम में हमें इसको, मेरी नजर में ये जो टॉप स्पॉट है, the world economy, the mover of the world economy. I mean, I remember that I was making this company. The core philosophy was, and I want to share this fact. कि कुछ लोग आपसे कुछ बोल देते हैं, and unknown to you, you are like, really? Are you kidding me like that? So this happened with me. I was talking to Mark Zuckerberg, Mr. Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg had brought certain plan for internet which was called free basics, which meant certain websites will be given free to the people, free topic, and the same thing. And his point was that let's give these websites free for some people, and that way the internet access will happen. And my theory was that the free does not solve for it, we should earn for it. And free is like a steroid, and muscle is like what long-term muscle is. I was like, you are wrong. And I was extremely against it because it was splitting the internet in two parts. Somebody can decide who will be getting it and somebody can decide who will not be getting it. So Mark was negotiating with me and he offered me to be the person who decides what will be free or not. I said the problem is that it is the problem that there will be some will be haves and haves not. This split is what my problem is. It is not who will decide is my problem. The fact that we could split the internet will be my problem. And then he said this, that Vijay, I hope you understand. Your country is deprived of internet. And this is about free basic, if you remember 14, 15, 15 I think in the time, 14, 15. You have to understand that your country lacks the internet. Who else will solve for internet problem? And I remember talking to him, I said, Mark, remember and mark my words. In internet and digital age, in our third world. We're the first world, and we will be the world. It is not we are talking to the third world of the world. Yes, our history may be that we are third world in what you could benchmark us on, but in the things that we are creating in this decade, we are the first one and we are the owner of what we will build in the world. And that is my belief, which is when it brings Fragile 5 to top 5. You know, life can go through what? It is a commitment. It is a commitment that we will not accept unless it is at the top. It is shocking, and I want to share this once again, that it's shocking many a times that you work hard and your government and your people work harder than you work. Their aspirations go higher and harder than your good ambition. Guys, look at it. And this is where the opportunity is. It's rare that you would have an individual benchmark of somebody who is a political leader or a leader of a company, because country instead of leader of a company, right? But I totally want to tell you one thing. This is the opportunity for us of a lifetime here, where what we see is that the commitment for India from bottom to the top of the governance, and bottom meaning the last person who's there in the village or any other place where he's not got access to any basic services, is about there is a euphoria and excitement of creating something which makes us the top 5 economy. And I truly believe that जब हम सब बदलेंगे तब देश बदल जाएगा. That is This is the key points. This is a Fragile 5, and why we call Fragile 5. Fragile 5 मतलब जो टूट के गिर जाए. And we used to be part of that economy where basic things were not sorted out. We had to take debts from IMF, and they had to take conditions for business, opening market, and so on. And transition and course correction happened, and now we are the bright spot. Let's see how it happened. So Fragile 5 is where high current account deficit, फिजिकल डेफिसिट, फॉरेन डेट. इसका मतलब आपके पास अपने देश में पैसे खर्च करने के लिए नहीं है, और अब वो फायदे में सरप्लस में चले गए. ये भी एक फनी बात है कि इट इज रादर रेयर फॉर अ इकोनॉमी टू फ्रॉम बीइंग अ हाईली डेफिसिट इकोनॉमी. जब भी कभी आपके लिए ओके नाउ आई विल गिव नाउ टुवर्ड्स द फ्रीबीज थिंग. लेट्स थिंक अबाउट इट, दिस रोड, हाईवेज. नाउ द बेस्ट पार्ट इज दैट दे आर बिल्ट for us as citizens, right? Where does this money come from? Because the rich subscribes to the tax and poor gets the benefit of it. Nothing wrong about it, I'd rather say. You should never take more than you can give, kind of philosophy. So from there, from a current account deficit and fiscal deficit, meaning the country does not have money, and there were high inflation rates. Now this is important to know. Inflation is like what rate of change of every year prices. This is also interesting that inflation adjusts to the growth. So your growth has to be always going ahead of inflation. Otherwise, the same 100 rupee kept with you will become lesser next year because the prices have increased higher. So higher inflation means that you are now running behind. Your country's citizens are getting poorer faster than they are able to increase their own money and wealth. Now, Fragile 5 nations were point for investment from Morgan Stanley, and it meant Brazil, India, South Africa, Turkey, Indonesia. Did you see the hint here of BRICS, except for Russia? And economic problem, policy paralysis, rating degraded, questions remain how to get out of the Fragile 5, and this is a big problem. मैं आपको एक लाइन बोलना चाहता हूँ. I started this company in 2001, and it is so young company, and I have attempted to raise money in early days, which is 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. First round of my money raising happened in 2007. Let me say 6 years, no fundraise from any private equity or other person. And in the last few years, I was able to raise money for literally the top of the pop. Everywhere, the top person or the toughest investor whom you could raise. I mean, we raised money from Berkshire Hathaway also, as you know. And the only reason that I was able to raise was not because we were outlier as a company. I simply had to say, you want to bet on India? That's a decision that you'll make. And if you're betting on India, then we should be the decision you should make. That's it. I think we got out of Fragile 5 from the early days of it. Now, this is, in those days, 10%. We were very below par for so many markets. Current account deficits, GDP, very small GDP with a growth. So ये देखो, growth 5% है और inflation 10% है. तो इसका मतलब net 5% पीछे जा रहे हैं. हम 5 कदम आगे जाते हैं और 10 कदम पीछे जा रहे हैं. This is the slang match that you can think about it. And this is from Fragile 5 to top 5. This is what happened. This is what happened. I mean, we have the economic growth, as you know, compounding growth. And best part is कि इस सब में पहले दुनिया चाइना को देखा करती थी कि China was the economy that became the back office of the world. I mean, they were manufacturing literally everything, and America built them as a manufacturing capacity for everyone. But India did not have a pleasure and honor of becoming like that, just like that. We had to build it for our own self. We just learned how we are farming-led economy. We learned how we are services-led economy. Did you know that we all know that Middle East is a rich economy because they produce oil and they sell to the world? And largest Middle Eastern country that would produce lots of oil would be Riyadh, the Saudis, right? The best part about it, India's IT export are now bigger than whole of Middle East's oil exports. So this is one of the laws, and that gives us foreign reserves. And this is a benchmark of how a company gets at the edge of whether you will be able to do it or not. And this is also the case, FDI. FDI is an indication of whether the country is liked by the rest of the world or not. And ये बिल्कुल पानी की तरह से है कि पानी किधर साइड में आएगा जहाँ पे आपके पास भराव का जगह होगा जहाँ पे सही जगह रखा होगा. So money attracting countries means that a lot of things are correct on those places. The governance, the law and order, the implementation of regulation, the opportunity, business opportunity, and many things, tens of things. ये बिल्कुल ऐसे है कि जब आप कार तेज चला रहे होते हो तो आपको पता है कि सब कुछ सही है. कार में सीट बेल्ट भी लगी हुई है, इंजन भी सही चल रहा है, फ्यूल भी सही है, और रोड भी सही है, सब कुछ सही है. तो FDI is the ultimate benchmark of this identifier. That is why it matters. And this is highest ever FDI that we got. And obviously, macroeconomic fundamental rate of inflation adjusted now are better than what we've been. So now this is where we are. ये देखो, top 10 economies यहाँ पे हैं. And this is very interesting कि we now have crossed. I mean, अपने जिन लोगों ने हमारे ऊपर राज किया था, जो थोड़े दिन पहले बोल रहे थे कि हमारे कंट्री में पैसे क्यों ले रहे हो, उनको बिल्कुल हमने किक कर दिया है एक स्टैंड नीचे, और अब हम आगे जा रहे हैं. And I want to tell you, I was in Tokyo last week, and I met Tokyo ambassador also in B20, and I was in Tokyo last week. And I want to tell you one thing: the Japan people just know this, that this country is going to be their growth reason. The country has deflation, meaning internally demand नहीं है, तो लोग की सामान ज़्यादा नहीं बिकते, so they grow on exports only, and they grew on 5% on exports. And where can they give something to, and where can they invest their money? The money and the export is happening to India, and this is what we, after this, will hit the next milestone of hitting the Japan and Germany as the next milestone, and hopefully before 2047 we should be here playing in Germany. एंड अब हम फंडामेंटल बात समझते हैं. आप लोगों को अपने करियर में भी डिसीजन लेना होता होगा कि मैं क्या करूं जिंदगी में. अब यार जब आप बड़े शहर में हो, आपको पता है ये वाली बात. यू आर इन दिल्ली, यू आर इन अ मेट्रो सिटी ऑफ द कंट्री, यू आर इन द कैपिटल ऑफ दिस कंट्री, एंड यू आर इन अ स्मॉल सिटी. मैं अलीगढ़ से हूँ, तो जहाँ अलीगढ़ के पास में हरिद्वार से हूँ, जहाँ पे के लोगों को पता ही नहीं होता कि आफ्टर 12 वॉट, एक बुक की नाम थी आफ्टर 12 वॉट हमने करियर के लिए उस क्षेत्र में होने के कारण आपको ये कभी पता नहीं चलता यार ये बहुत कमा लेते हैं, हम ये बन जाते हैं. Right? I mean, there are a lot of times, you like a James Bond right now. I can be anything. I can be an Italian professor, I can be this guy. So how do you decide what should you be? It's a very interesting sequence of things that you should know. So all of us understand. मैं इस कमरे में एक interesting demand पूछता हूँ. What do you think is the most consumed product that you will buy? खाना? Water? Is it water? Oxygen? Healthcare? Huh? It actually is money. जिसके पास पैसा है उसको भी पैसा चाहिए, जिसके पास नहीं है उसको भी चाहिए. जिसके पास काम कर लिया उसको काम नहीं चाहिए. बहुत बड़े आदमी को बहुत बड़ा पैसा चाहिए, बहुत छोटे आदमी को छोटा पैसा चाहिए. ये जब मुझे एवोल्यूशन हुआ मेरी लाइफ का, तो एकदम से बल्ब जल गई कि ये क्या हुआ. I used to be thinking कि हम वो करेंगे, कॉमर्स करेंगे, the most loved thing will be टिकट बेच देते हैं, सिनेमा टिकट, ट्रेन टिकट, सब लोग ट्रेन में जाएंगे, बस में जाएंगे, बाद में चला सब लोगों को पैसा चाहिए. एंड में आके पैसा चाहिए. So the foundation of economy is banking. That's it. आपका हम लोग स्विस को बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग मानते हैं कंट्री, क्योंकि उनकी बैंकिंग स्ट्रॉन्ग है. हमारे जो पुराने रूलर्स थे, उन्होंने लंदन में बैंकिंग को कंट्रोल करा, उन्होंने पैसे को कंट्रोल करा. सो पावर ऑफ मनी इज द अल्ट्रा पावर इन द वर्ल्ड. आप किसी दूसरे कंट्री के पास भी जाते हो, FDI का मतलब है किसी के पास पैसा है, वही तो आ रहा है आपके पास. So money becomes the most important foundation of everything. हम करेंगे क्या? उससे पहले हमारे पास है क्या? In other words, financial system reform. So banking reform, what has happened in this country, I really want to tell you all, is revolutionary everywhere in the world. It has never happened. जनधन अकाउंट जो खुले, उसके बाद मतलब मैं तो अपने आप को एक प्रिविलेज मानता हूँ कि अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली कि छोटी दुकान को कैसे पेमेंट दिलवाया जाए. अब मेरा तो कारण बहुत छोटा सा था. मैं स्ट्रीट फूड खाने वाला आदमी, गोलगप्पे खाने वाला आदमी, और मेरा वॉलेट रख जाता है. सो आई लैंडेड इन LA विद माय वॉलेट. So if you notice, I don't wear anything, and my wallet also and pockets are in front, which means that I am very uncomfortable carrying something in the back of my pocket or somewhere else. So I have actually left my wallet at places, and I was like, wow, what a problem in the world. Every pocket's got a phone, but nobody's got a wallet kept in the phone. So बहुत ही छोटा सा आइडिया था. मैंने कहा कि अपने लिए सॉल्व करते हैं. और जब अपने लिए सॉल्व कर रहे थे, और अपने लिए सॉल्व करना था, तो अपने लिए कहाँ सॉल्व करेंगे? गोलगप्पे की दुकान पे. वहीं पे तो जाके पैसे देंगे. बड़े आदमी की दुकान पे तो कार्ड चलता है यार. वहाँ पे तो आप फोन से कुछ कर सकते हो, लेकिन छोटी दुकान पे नहीं होता. So with a self need, I also, by the way, also remember that coming from the background that I came from, I knew कि जो सबसे छोटा दुकानदार होता है ना, और जो फूड चेन में सबसे लास्ट में होता है, उसकी कोई फिक्र नहीं करता. Nobody wants to serve them because it takes time to serve them and bring them uplift before you can make money by serving the rich or the evolved person, if you will. So the total clarity that I had was that we have to solve for the last guy in the food chain. We have to solve for the person who does not get any attention. Inclusion means people who are on this side of the river of adversity to make them cross the river. And that is why we set a mission, 50 crore, half a billion Indian to the mainstream of economy. और ये कोई बिलियन दिन धक करोड़ का टारगेट नहीं है. रैंडम नुएंस नंबर है. 500 मिलियन मतलब 500 मिलियन यूजर और मर्चेंट. इसका मतलब एक एक नंबर से काउंट करने की बात है कि उनको हम इधर से इधर लेके आएंगे. When they have it, this country's economy will have it. And that is exactly what drove the innovation, and I'm so proud to be in the time in economy where this is the core of the growth. Where the banking reform, whether you talk about payments, whether you talk about credit, whether you talk about जनधन account, it's phenomenal. The world is envying us. And हमारा use case ना दुनिया के लिए है. आपको पता है ना उससे पहले क्या होता था? एक मशीन लगानी पड़ती थी दुकानदार के पास. वो मशीन $100 से नीचे की नहीं आती. बहुत बल्क में खरीदोगे $80-90 की आ जाएगी. यानी कि आप बोल रहे हो अगर आपको 100 मिलियन लोगों को लगाना है तो इतनी मशीनें फ्री में दे दो. फिर प्लास्टिक की कॉस्ट और उसके डिस्बर्समेंट की कॉस्ट, ह्यूज कॉस्ट. And I can tell you one thing, it is called Paytm model elsewhere when the shopkeeper has a QR code. Everywhere the QR code is, the customer shows up a QR code. Actually, the QR code which was so-called innovated in Japan and then it was innovated for payments in China. In China, the payment is that the shopkeeper scans the QR code and customer shows the QR. But it is only in India, only in the Paytm universe, where we launched the QR code for the merchant and we chose that सारा technology और connection वगैरह हम consumer को दे देंगे क्योंकि उसको interest है. अब सबका problem ये था सुधारी financial services industry का, जो लोग यहाँ पे ये समझना चाहेंगे इसमें क्या rocket sciences part था कि यार आप तो बोल दोगे कि पेमेंट हो गया, but वो कैसे समझेगा? तो उसका आंसर आपको मालूम है, Paytm पर 50 रुपए प्राप्त हुए. So you know this. So ये एक और बात है. अच्छा मैं आपको GDP ग्रोथ का एक प्राइमर देता हूँ क्योंकि मैं भी एक like I said, I'm an engineering college student and I did not know what the banking is. आपको कैसे लगता है GDP बढ़ती है? ऐसे कैसे बनता है? GDP कैसे बढ़ती है? GDP is the ability to stand. How will you do it? How will you actually grow the economy? So होता क्या है कि धूप ने मेरे को 100 रुपए दिया और मैंने इसमें से 70 रुपए सर को दिए. तो इकोनॉमी में कितने रुपए हो गए? 170 रुपए. बैंक्स पैसा प्रिंट करती है. Did you notice? This deposited money of 100, there is something called reserve ratio, etc. math. इसका मतलब कि अगर ये पैसा लेने आए तो मेरे पास उतने रिजर्व में पैसे होने चाहिए. I can go as low as 70 and I can go as high as 90, depending on which state the bank is. So taking this 100 rupee deposited and giving 70 rupee makes the economy 170 rupees. This is how GDP grows. the access to credit will create the wealth of economy to the person who is at the tail end of this economy. उसको ग्रांट नहीं चाहिए, फ्री भी नहीं चाहिए, उसको पैसा चाहिए. बॉस अपॉर्चुनिटी दे दो करने की, तो हमारे हाथ में शक्ति है और हमारे हाथ में एबिलिटी है. आप हमें पैसा तो दे के देखो, हम आपको लौटा के दे देंगे. And that is what my father, who is a school teacher, would have a lot of his school people will come. मास्टर साहब पैसा दिलवा दो आपके लड़के से. तो मैं उनको ये बोलता था कि आपने पैसे दे दो, लेकिन उनको ऑब्लिगेशन लगा देना रिटर्न का. Not because I need this money, but because they should always know ये ग्रांट नहीं है. देखो ग्रांट ना आदत पूरी करती है, क्योंकि लोगों को फिर करनी होती है. जब आप खुद अर्न करके खर्च करते हो और आपको रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कि यू टू रिटर्न इट, यू विल बिहेव डिफरेंटली. एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड द क्रेडिट ग्रोथ दैट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. एंड इन दिस कंट्री वी हैव सीन दिस रिफॉर्म where the banks used to lose money. तो हम बात करें ना 6 लाख करोड़ का लॉस है, जिसमें से कृषक को तो कुछ नहीं मिला, फार्मर को तो कुछ नहीं मिला, तो किसको मिला? बड़े आदमी को मिला. तो अब हम उसको कहाँ से हम उसको चैरिटी माने या उसको हम वेलफेयर माने? The answer is when the banking and the financial system serves for the last guy, that the economy of this country grows bigger and better and bigger and better, bigger and better. That is what the purpose is. And very clearly, I mean, I can tell you this, that the economy has dramatically changed. Whether you talk about resolution, recovery, आपने bankruptcy court देखा, recap, government ने equity invest करा. This is how the financial system is the core financial system of the world. You get it? Once that is strong, we are standing on a strong foundation. That is what it is. Now the bank reforms. मैं इसलिए बोलना चाहता हूँ कि bank reform आपकी क्लास में क्यों पढ़ाया जा रहा है? आप समझ रहे हो? Bank reform is a foundation on which you are standing. Because the access to money defines what economy will grow. Whether you talk about NPAs, जिसमें के कितना पैसा आपको वापस मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, whether you talk about market cap of PSB banks and evergreen loan, ये सब चीजें हैं जिसकी वजह से access to capital matters. And now finally ease of doing business. Now this is important. मैं एक बार I went there to request something in Prime Minister's one of those meetings that we were saying कि आप ये हटा दीजिए. तो अब आप लोग इस स्कूल में आते हो, कॉलेज में आते हो, तो आपको लगता होगा बहुत सारी जगह रास्ते में वो रोड ब्लॉक लगते हैं. तो किसी ना किसी कारण से एक टाइम पे तो सही थे वो कि यहाँ पे ऐसे मान लेते हैं कि वो इंटरनेशनल सर्किट था तो हमें चाहिए था कि इसको ऐसे बना दें. लेकिन एक टाइम आने के बाद वो क्योंकि वहाँ पे कार रेस नहीं हो रही है, सो यू डोंट नीड दैट. Now the hurdles or the restrictions or the obligations or the rules that are created always in context. And context expires, but rules don't. And this is called ease of doing business. I love it when our Prime Minister told that gathering that every day I make one rule disappear in this country. And that is what makes it ease of doing business that we're seeing here. Removing archaic laws. This is huge. आपको पता होगा जो IPC है, जो पुलिस को कंट्रोल करती है मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम के अंतर्गत, that was written by Britishers assuming that you are always a criminal. And that continued as is where is. होता है ना सिलेबस पूरा करना है 1948 में हुआ था वो सिलेबस पूरा. You know what I'm talking about. जल्दी से लिख देते हैं as is where is लगा देते हैं. No, that needs to be upgraded to the new India that we are today. So whether it is about changing archaic law or taxing, this is very different. And this matters because this is what decides how country goes forward. And then finally, spectacular results. We have seen the exports. Exports mean that if you don't have local countries market, somebody is paying you the money. Whether you're talking about education export, as you guys are doing it, you are bringing foreign income in the country. And whether you talk about make in India, India में manufacturing कभी होगी नहीं. ये हमारा always एक मतलब आप लोग हम लोग एक ही तरह के हैं जिन्होंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं होगा कि देखो हम सेवा शुश्रूषा तो कर लेंगे, मतलब सर्विसेज सेक्टर में आ जाएंगे, लेकिन बनाने की बारी आएगी तो हम ऑफिस में भी नहीं आएंगे, फैक्ट्री में भी नहीं आएंगे. बट आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू टेल यू, कैन यू बिलीव जब स्मार्टफोन, आई एम श्योर यू रिमेंबर द स्मार्टफोन केम 2010, 15, 20, literally 2015, 16, before Make in India was announced, India's 100% smartphones were made outside. Now India's 2/3 smartphones are made in India. Now that is amazing, and actually वो नोएडा एरिया में बन रहे हैं वो. तो मतलब हम लोग देश के स्मार्टफोन बना रहे हैं. That is possible because of the Make in India agenda here that we talking. अच्छा, अब मैं थोड़ा सा और एक थोड़ा लार्जर आर्क ध्यान देता हूँ. ये नॉलेज जो मेरे को लर्न मिली वो आपको शेयर करता हूँ. That I learned that, you know, जब हम पॉवर्टी से लोगों को एलिवेट करते हैं तो सर्विसेज सेक्टर में एफिशिएंसी चाहिए होती है. मैंने अभी पूछा आपके सीईओ साहब से कि आप कहीं और यूनिवर्सिटी क्यों नहीं खोलते? उन्होंने बोला देखिए सबको आंखों के सामने रखना पड़ता है जिससे वो सारे लोग सही चलें। बिल्कुल लॉजिकल है। सर्विसेज इंडस्ट्री और गिविंग सर्विस टू वन पर्सन एट अ टाइम रिक्वायर्स अटेंशन एंड अ डिटेल. It's a manufacturing that can have at a scale. You can give more number of jobs in manufacturing than in the service industry. True? But India's manufacturing industry did not take off because of the attention that we missed on it. Is the reason that we have actually small job limitation in the country. So छोटी जॉब क्यों नहीं बनी जबकि हमारे पास एक इतना अच्छा एक डिविडेंड ऑफ जनरेशन और एजिंग है and that will be solved only when manufacturing grows. So many of you in this room who have not seen your ancestral generations doing manufacturing, I invite you to think of doing manufacturing. और आपको पता है ना वो पेटीएम पर 50 रुपए प्राप्त हुए वो इंडिया में ही बनता है नोएडा में ही बनता है. So I mean this is an important thing guys that we have to do it. So you know it, we are now all whether online, गवर्नमेंट तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा सेवी ऑनलाइन है. इतना तो मतलब प्राइवेट कंपनी नहीं खरीदती ऑनलाइन जितना कि गवर्नमेंट खरीदती है इस टाइम पे. एंड वेदर यू टॉक अबाउट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था. 2008 में एक इवेंट है द इंडस एंटरप्रेन्योर टाई होती है, नेस्कॉम टाई आपके नाम सुने होंगे. तो उसमें एक क्वेश्चन आया, मैं स्टेज पे आया था तो मेरे से क्वेश्चन पूछा विजय कैन यू टेल मी व्हाई इंडिया डज नॉट प्रोड्यूस गूगल और फेसबुक और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट फ्रॉम इंडिया. एंड ये 2008 की बात, 2008 यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. तब तक कोई डिजिटल और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप नहीं होती थी. तो मैंने उस ऑडियंस से पूछा, मैंने बोला सर आपके ग्रैंड डॉटर के अभी ग्रेजुएट करके आई हो और उसके पास 3 जॉब ऑप्शंस है. एक है DE शॉ और एक है इन्फोसिस और तीसरा है 197 कम्युनिकेशन नोएडा. प्लीज सजेस्ट दैट व्हाट विल बी द प्रेफरेंस ऑफ जॉब दिस पर्सन विल टेक. तो सीक्रेट DE शॉ फर्स्ट, इन्फोसिस सेकंड एंड फूड चेन में अगर बच गया तो हमारे लिए. I said the day when India's talent understands that we are the power who makes other countries rich, instead of going and serving other person, we will serve our country. This country will produce tons of companies, tons of companies. और आज के दिन में मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ, it takes a leader on the top to say that startup India is a revolution of India. हम ना legitimate हो. अन्यथा आपको पता नहीं है जब मैंने कंपनी चालू करी थी मेरी पड़ोसन के कारण मेरी मम्मी बोलती है वो पूछ रही थी रिंकू की मम्मी नौकरी में लगी ना लगी दामा के साइड वाले खोल लो काम. नौकरी में लगी. तो ये जो हीरोगिरी है ना, देखो जब आप चेंज एजेंट बनोगे ना तभी हीरो. ये मेरा कहना है आपसे. सो हियर इट इज. Manufacturing is again make in India. ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है. This is happening near you again. We are on the road. And again इंसेंटिव आते हैं बनाने के लिए, टैक्स लगेगा नहीं. This is again an opportunity. And digital India, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. India's future is digital, and India's future will be on infrastructure which is digitally made. आप लोग, हम लोग जितना savvily स्मार्टफोन को यूज करते हैं, our country becomes stronger and better. When you use Paytm, you make India stronger. That is what I pitched to people. This is for UPI payments, as you know. हर जगह पे Paytm, हर जगह पे UPI, हर जगह पे mobile payment, and this is what we have it. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Aren't we also lucky? We have just witnessed a master class by the master himself, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Now, obviously, sir, since we are in the university, we will have to do a brief Q&A with you. A couple of students have questions as well. So, first let me start with the silsila of questions that is going to go on. So firstly, sir, like you said, we have 200 creators sitting right here amongst us today. So from your experience, we would like to know, firstly, how should they go about the process of, achieving their entrepreneurial journey? What is the gyan that would come from your end?
So rule number 1, when you are on entrepreneurial journey, this is a journey which is not being taken by anybody around you. In other words, आपके घर में कोई entrepreneur नहीं है. ये मेरा assumption है. नहीं तो आप एंटाइटल्ड बिजनेसमैन की औलाद होते हैं जो कि आप नहीं हो, कभी हम यहाँ बैठे हो। इसका मतलब जिंदगी में बहुत कुछ होगा जिसका आंसर आपके घर वाले नहीं दे पाएंगे, और जिसका आंसर लेने के लिए आप अपने आगे पीछे के दोस्तों के पास जाओगे तो कहेंगे मैं तो बताया कि तू ये क्यों कर रहा है, बहुत बार बोला जाएगा। बट एग्जिट और पीछे जाके रास्ता चेंज करने की चाबी को दरवाजे में बंद करो और चाबी को फेंक दो, क्योंकि देयर इज ओनली वन वे, गो फॉरवर्ड, कंटिन्यू एंड परसिवरेंस, कोई और नहीं। If you don't give up, then you become the hero. If you ready to give up, then आज ही छोड़ो यार और किसी और चीज़ में। जब भी कभी आपको छोड़ने का और डर लगे कि ये क्या हो रहा है मेरी लाइफ में, तो आपको यही सोचना चाहिए, why did I start? I have to do it. Oh, you getting us? Thank you.
So the next question would be this. I mean, this is a big elephant in the room for all budding entrepreneurs. Funding and raising money. So in the current ecosystem, what are the chances? What would what is the advice you'd give to the budding entrepreneurs here? That, how do they go about the whole raising the funding for their startups?
So raising money is a very interesting thing. अगर आपका success raising money के gating condition पे, meaning that you are waiting for your success to come once you have raised money, I'm sorry to say it, this is not the business that you should be. Because raising money should not define your plan. It should accelerate your plan. दोबारा समझता है? Raising money or money of equity should be accelerating the plan, but not be the plan. So I have lived this life. I've lived this life a number of times in this journey of 20 plus years, where we don't have money. We don't have money. Whether you're talking early days, Series A for Paytm happened 2007. मतलब 6 साल बाद of starting. So I'm sorry. I'm not the one who chases the money. I chase the customer and the product. When you have attraction, people will come.
That's very, very valuable insights there. So before we end the Q&A, I would like to invite our student volunteers. If there are any questions that the students would like to pose to Mr. Sharma, we have time to take one question. I think we have a question right there. Can we have the mic, please, for the student?
I can hear you. लॉ स्कूल सर यार मतलब भाई अच्छा पढ़ा रहे हैं टीचर वेरी गुड होमवर्क वेल डन सेक्शन 135 of Company Act
Sir, certainly puts an obligation on the company to give back to the society.
I will say sir.
So sir, my question is, what are kind of projects Paytm is mostly focused on? And is there any project which you are most passionate about?
Yes.
Yes, activity.
Yeah, very good by the way. So, first of all, Section 135 doesn't apply on us because we are not yet profit making. Profit making is साल से कर रहे हैं तो इसलिए पीछे है. But still we do the contribution, and the contribution is on clean air. मेरा ये मानना है कि ये शहर में सब कुछ हो जाएगा अगर हवा सही नहीं हुई तो हम कहाँ रहेंगे? तो इसलिए clean air. We have everything. I wish the clean air is what we wish.
Wonderful. We'll take one last question. Anybody from the students who would like to volunteer for one question?
Go ahead.
Good evening, sir. So my question is that now in news we are hearing that Paytm is moving out of country. India has made deal with France that in upcoming years we can use Paytm there also. So how we are growing economically outside, and what are the future plans?
Yeah. By the way, many of you may not know. We as Paytm run, and we have our company in Japan, which is actually the largest payment operator of Japan. 55 million customers and 2/3 of our And the brand name is called Paytm, Paytm, and it is a JV with SoftBank and us. So we own equity and we run it out of Japan. So when I was saying I was in Tokyo, I do my team reviews there and so on and so forth. So first of all, I think the benchmark for our country's produce will be when the world becomes a customer. And that is exactly what I personally champion, that Paytm's technology should be able to go and serve other countries as another country to go for. देखो, अब जब कैलिफोर्निया में बनता है तो हम यहाँ यूज़ करते हैं, और जब न्यू दिल्ली में बनेगा तो वहाँ वो यूज़ करें, तभी वो काम पूरा होगा. So, yes, international markets.
Thank you so much, sir. This is the spirit that is truly going to help India become the third largest global economy. And now for the nail-biting results of the debates that everybody has been waiting for. Can I please request our university dignitaries also to join us on stage for the prize distribution? Can we please have Dhruv ji? Can we have Aradhna ji, the advisor to the Chancellor, Professor Luthra, the Vice Chancellor? Any guesses, students? Okay, so the moment that we have all been waiting for, I would first like to invite the winning team to join us on stage. Any guesses? Okay, sounds like there is an equal representation in the student body. So the winning team is the team that went for the motion. Can we please have the two debaters on stage, Ayush and Tanushree? Can we please have our debaters on stage, Ayush and Tanushree from the winning team? Can we also please have our other team on stage? They really put in a marvelous performance. The team going against the motion is Anushka and Mr. Devansh.
सौरभ साइड हो कमरा लगा
Also, we would like to take this opportunity to felicitate our chief guest joining us here today from New India Junction. Also, we would like to extend the felicitation to our university for very kindly providing us the support.
Presenting the Galgotias University Collector to our esteemed chief guest by our CEO, sir, and Director Operations. Then I also request VC sir to present the memento to our judge, Mr. Arnab Mittal. Then I request Mr. Galgotias to present the memento to our moderator of the day.
we please have Aradhana ji and Dhruv ji stay back on stage? We just wanted to felicitate you. Thank you very much, everybody. And now the show is going to be handed over to our lovely faculty MC joining us from Galgotias University, Ms. Vadhwa.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Shankar Sharma, sir, for your thought-provoking and inspiring words. It is with immense gratitude and pleasure that I stand before you today to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to a visionary entrepreneur whose remarkable contributions have transformed the way we perceive and engage with the world of digital commerce. The individual I'm referring to is none other than the esteemed founder of Paytm, Mr. Vijay Shankar Sharma. A big round of applause. First and foremost, I'd like to express our sincerest appreciation for Mr. Sharma's unwavering dedication and relentless pursuit of innovation. His entrepreneurial spirit and foresight have revolutionized the financial landscape of our country, propelling India into a new era of digital transactions and e-commerce. Through his vision, Paytm has become more than just a platform, it's a symbol of convenience, reliability, and empowerment for millions. May I please request the student to sing the Vande Mataram national song for us?
Everybody is requested to be in the position.
Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufam.
चलो करो